we're live. Oh my gosh. Nicole Pickens has joined. Hi, Nicole, my friend, my other
Hey,
friend.
Nicole.
It's the other Nicole.
It's the Nicoles.
It's the Nicoles. And someone else who I don't know. It's not showing me yet.
I haven't seen their name yet. They'll get there. They'll get there. Who are you? Who are you?
Who am I? Hi, Heather. I'm Nicole Havelka.
Oh, it's Kevin Chuck.
I am a burnout recovery coach and sustainability strategist for small businesses and nonprofits. And I am the author of Just Rest, which is the newsletter I publish here on Substack. And possibly adding to my list of things I do is podcaster of the podcast of the same name as my newsletter, Just Rest. Burnout.
I love Rest.
Everyday Radicals, where I talk to world changers, not unlike yourself, Heather, world changers who are trying to change the world, push back against, I don't know. There's a lot to put.
Everything.
All the things, pushing back against a lot of it's quite frankly a shit show. I hope I can swear on here and not get censored. But like the shit that our world is, and
I'm confident I curse every week on Substack.
On here, and it's fine. I hope so.
Yes.
I mean, I know that people have, Okay, had to try a different something to get in. Okay. Hi, Nicole. I'm glad you're back. Hope it found.
Yes, and Kevin's here. Hi, Kevin. Nicole, I love what you're doing, and I haven't introduced myself yet. I will though, but I want to say this. But I want to say this first. So it's like, I don't know. I'm like teasing people. Maybe I shouldn't go this route. But I'm a 1-3 splenic projector in human design, and we're designed to rest before we're successful. And that is such a mind fuck because it's not the way society is built, especially here in the United States. And I will often do somatic self-compassionate touch in the mornings before I wake up and affirmations. And the other day I was I had just opened my eyes, and I often will do like this and then just breathe. And my affirmation that I say is, and you're like, who is this chick? Why is she talking? But I feel like if I don't tell the story now, I'm going to forget to tell it. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. The outcomes adjust as abundance flows. And then my mind went, but what do you really want, Heather? And for the first time in a long time, the answer was very, very clear. And the answer was, I want all the foundations I've laid to work so that I can be financially expansive and successful while I rest. And it just came, it was like, that's it. Like, you've done the work. You've put the work in. You've laid the foundation. And I'll tell everybody, go ahead. But rest is clutch in this. It's like it's almost like if I don't lean into the rest, I can't have the success. I can't have the abundance.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, I'm Heather Vickery. I'm a transformation coach. And I help people go from where they are to where they want to be by learning to deeply and completely know, like, and trust themselves, and then unwire all the bullshit society's put on you your whole life so that you can lead a heart-centered, joy-filled life. So I work with people who probably look fairly successful on paper, but they do not always feel like they're thriving. And I happen to also be one of those people because, life is challenging. I practice everything that I preach. I'm certified in positive psychology. I'm a human design expert and coach. So I led with that 1-3 splenic projector. So if you guys don't know your human design, let me know. We could pull your human design chart. And then I am a board certified NLP specialist, hypnotherapy, EFT tapping, subliminal audio, all that fun stuff. So, and Nicole and I are pals. And I also am the co-host of the podcast, Was It Chance? Which is a podcast about taking intentional risk for creative success. Nicole listens. It's fun. I co-host it with my friend Alan, who's a riot. And I'm trying to remember, Nicole, if we first met through the Feminist Podcast Collective or through the coaches group. Are you in both?
I think we met at the kind of the predecessor to both of those groups, which was the Feminist Executive Officer Networking Group.
FEO, that's
And I think you
right.
were I was at the time when I would go to those little online gatherings, I would drop my link for coffee into like, hey, do you want to set up a time to
Yeah,
chat into
yeah, me too.
the thing?
Love that.
And you were
Yeah.
in a phase where you were like connecting with a lot, but I don't know if it's a phase. You're always kind of like that. Like you're
I
always
like to
trying to
connect.
connect with
Yeah,
people.
I'm into connecting.
And like, I don't even know if you said anything to me in the chat. I just remember that, oh, look, someone signed up, which happens from time to time. And then we talked, and I think, we were very easy. It was, of course, a very easy conversation, and we had a lot of fun together. And then more recently, we've been in the feminist, the feminist podcast collective together and the coaches group together.
I know. And
And
you
we've had
guys,
the pleasure of meeting in person now.
that's what I was going to say. We got to have real person lunch,
I
in person lunch,
know. We
and,
had
and
real person
hugs. It was
lunch not
great.
too long ago. I moved from Ohio to Illinois. I live in central Illinois, so a little ways away, but Heather lives in the Chicago area. And I sometime like early summer, I think, you were like, hey, you should come up and
I know.
I was having a rough month, and Heather was like,
You
you should,
were.
and I did, and it was great. And I had a great lunch with her. I got to meet another friend for coffee. The backstory, I lived in the Chicago area for a really long time. So like I haven't lived there in a number of years, but I lived there for like 14 or 15 years.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah, hey Stephanie, good to see you. I I lived there for a long time, so I love every excuse to come back, and I have tons and tons of friends to hang out with when I'm there, and so I got to hang out with Heather and another friend, and I always make a stop at Trader Joe's because this town I live in, which is good in many ways in Champaign-Urbana, does not have a Trader Joe's, which infuriates
I
me.
feel like that would do really well there. This is not the purpose of our Substack Live today, but
Correct.
really, hey, Trader Joe's, you do well in college towns.
Right?
I'm
Well,
just saying.
I'm gonna send this to Trader Joe's because on their website, I found out since moving here, there's a place on their website where you can recommend locations. And I
Would be
have
smart.
done it a couple of times since moving here. Be like, why aren't you here? No, I see people around town with Trader Joe's bags all the time. So they're clearly going somewhere else to get their stuff and bring it back.
Is Nicole frozen for everybody? Or is it just me?
My
Oh,
friend,
okay. Now you're back. It could have been me. It could have been me. It didn't look like it was me. It's okay. It's okay.
we're
Maybe that was
fine.
the universe telling us to move on from Trader Joe's.
Correct. I think that they don't
Um,
need any free advertising from us, frankly. If they want to become a sponsor of
um,
either of our podcasts, we would definitely be open to that. So,
yes, correct.
right.
Well, and
Okay.
yes, absolutely. And so we decided to do this live because we were chatting a week or two ago. And the conversation, I was like, oh, we should be having this conversation in front of other people because what we're talking about right now, I think could be so impactful for other folks. So you are in the process. You don't, Stephanie, you don't have a Trader Joe's near you? Wait, sorry, because Stephanie's in Chicago.
She is.
Okay, we need to get you a Trader Joe's. Did we talk about that on your podcast? I think we did. I think when I was on Stephanie's podcast, Nosy AF, I think we talked about Trader Joe's. What is that with me and Trader Joe's lately? Anyway, sidetrack.
It's all right.
Um,
I promised a lot of side roads today on the posts I made. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. You should be angry about it, Stephanie. You deserve a Trader Joe's. There's no question about it.
okay, so you are in like the tail end, and I'll let you talk about it. But I think it's so fascinating of crowdfunding for your new podcast. I actually love, and I'm hoping some of my folks will come in and join, and we'll share the replay as well. But I love this concept of, and it feels very foreign, but it shouldn't be, of going, I don't have to give free labor to make my dreams come true. Like I can be financially flush to make my dreams come true. It had never occurred to me until you said, I think I'm going to do a Kickstarter to launch my podcast, I was like, wait, because I spent so much money launching both of my podcasts and so much time and so much
Right.
energy. Um, and so I would love for you to tell everybody like what it in like as if I'm hosting. Nicole is hosting this. I'm her guest, but I can't help but be bossy.
Right.
I'm a leader. But I want to hear more about what led you to make that decision. And then you know, we can talk about, I think from my insider friendship perspective, I've sort of seen you run the gamut on ways you feel about being able to do this, what you've had to do even to get to this point, whether or not you get fully funded. So, what do you say?
Right. So the evolution of this, well, the my podcast has been a really slow burn, actually, in terms of like, I wrote about, or I think I wrote about it actually in the Substack that's going to come out Wednesday. I'm giving
Okay.
you all a free preview right now of what was in my head when I wrote it. Is that, when I started my business like 6 years ago, and I started not long before the pandemic lockdown. So I threw a ton of spaghetti at the wall. And I'm an experimenter by nature. Like, I don't
Yeah,
mind things, and I have a pretty strong tolerance. I'm actually learning, compared to most of the world, I have a very strong tolerance for risk and for failure. I think, like, that's
I
probably
love
more important
that.
than risk. Like, I have more of a I don't mind. I'm like, oh well, I've learned that didn't work. I learned something from that, and I'll move on. Like, and I always feel like whatever you've learned is like the good thing about it. So,
Yes.
but I didn't like just rush into a podcast. People had told me I should have one. I didn't rush into it. Couldn't have told you why. I just didn't quite land on the right thing. I had had conversations with a couple of different people about maybe having like different, not even what I'm proposing now, but like different things along the road. And for whatever reason, those didn't work out. Like, those ideas just
Yeah.
didn't pan out for no bad reason, just like it didn't work for one reason or another. And so, but it's still simmering in the back of my head about doing the podcast. So what I did, so what hit me, I don't know, probably about a year ago, maybe a little longer, it hit me one day that I'm like, oh, what I need to do is have a podcast about the intersection of justice and rest. Like, how does, because this is a thing I talk about and do all the time. I did a little bit of research, like I searched Spotify and Apple and like what other podcasts are about that. And there's a few others, but not.
There are, and there's the Nat Ministry, and her work is incredible.
Right, right. Of course, we should credit like most of this. A lot of this idea
Trisha Hurston.
came
Yeah.
came from Trisha Hersey's The Nat Ministry, and just her book, Rest is Resistance. But
Such
I
a
had been
good book.
introduced to it. I talked about this on Stephanie and I did a live. Stephanie Graham, who is here, um, we talked about this a little bit. Like, there's actually some origins in some of my in my Christian side of my life, like, that it came from, because I read a book years ago, many years ago now, called Sabbath as Resistance by Walter Brueggemann, who's a biblical scholar. And basically his thesis, and I'm oversimplifying a little and paraphrasing, of course, but his basic thesis is like this idea of Sabbath being a commandment in Christianity. And he unpacks the Exodus story and talks all about that in the book. And he said, what he's basically, his thesis is like, that's really like a commandment of giving the finger to the man. Like,
Okay.
in that case, the
Okay.
Pharaoh, in the story, it's Pharaoh that the Israelites are saying, we're giving the finger to the man in that. And he's like, this is really like, like pushing back against our bodies being exploited for labor. And I was like, holy
Okay.
shit. Like, that blew
Yes.
my mind.
And it is profound. And I am agnostic, so I am not religious. It is profound, except I hear that and I have to say, yeah, but they're only talking to men. Because when did the fucking women rest on the Sabbath? Ever.
Oh, y- yeah. I don't remember,
They're
it's been
making
a
the
long
meal, they're cleaning the house, they're
decade
doing
since
the
I've read the book.
laundry. Do you know what
That's
I
a
mean,
really good
though?
question.
Like, so I love Trisha's work, and I Rest is Resistance is one of my favorite books.
Yes.
And I think that rest is resistance. And I know that it means something profound and different in the Black community, but that
Yeah.
and not a but and also I think it means something in all communities and in
Yeah.
all, what everybody has had to do to be accepted or to be good enough. And women in general, just rest is never something that we're taught to prioritize.
No. I mean, and I would just say alongside like starting my business, I realized how hard that was because people would, oh my gosh, like when I would say like, well, what gets in the way? Like for a while there, I was like, I would go on Facebook or other social media platforms and say, so what gets in your way in terms of taking care of yourself? Like as a way of doing sort of a little bit of market research, right? What
Sorry,
gets in your
guys.
way about for that? And people responded like crazy to this question. By the way, it was wild how many people would respond, and they would always say like the two things that get in the way are time and money. Now, I've been around the world long enough that I've been in the world long enough to know that time and money are code for other things. People will almost always use that as their like
Yeah.
when they're not doing something.
Yeah.
So I was trying to scratch beneath the surface, and I think this was probably around like I was having these conversations, um, and like so the things that were in the stew was that I was having these conversations before that, and then the pandemic lockdown happened. George Floyd murder happened, and all of the the racial justice protests around that happened. And I was thinking very deeply. I was finishing up a yoga teacher training at the time, like one of my advanced teacher training, and was writing an ethics paper, like literally at the same time, and had to like I was planning on writing it about cultural appropriation and racism in that world. And so all of that was in my head. And it was, and honestly, it was such a mess in a way, but such a gift to have all of that going on in my mind. And that's all of that, like all of both the introspection that I had to do in order to get my act together to be the kind of, I don't want to use the kind of advocate that I want to be around racial justice,
Yeah.
around, you know,
Well,
combating toxic capitalism, all those things. I had to get
justice
my
has
act
to
together.
work collectively, right?
Yeah,
Justice has to work collectively. We have to
right.
be seeking justice for everyone
Hmm.
in order to get justice, right? It can't be siloed. So I
Yeah,
love that.
right, right.
Yeah.
So those
Okay.
things aren't
So
siloed, and so that's what I think it was probably just that whole process. That stuff, it was all in the mix. And then, like I said, probably at least a year and a half ago, I had this revelation that this is what I had to do. I joined the podcast collective a little less than a year ago, I think, and started hanging around podcasters and like just learning about it. And then in terms of like getting to the crowdfunding piece, like learn the one good thing about hanging around with a lot of other podcasters and learning about the process and the doing of it is that you learn how damn much work it is. And so I was like, and at the time that I was most of the time I was spending with the podcast collective, I was realizing that this was so much work. And at the time I had another part-time job that I no longer have, but like I had that and I was like, there's no way I can do this.
yeah,
There's literally so I had that in my head, and then that contract ended a little bit abruptly this spring, and I was like,
divine intervention, my
I
dove.
think it
Divine
was, and it
intervention.
freed up energy around this, and I'm like, "This is something I really feel the need to do at this moment," and that's so it's a combination of things in terms of prompting. One is that it's just hard, and I've been DIYing projects, like, this whole time in my business, and I'm like, "I'm sort of done." Like, I want this
Mm,
I want someone to help me launch this damn thing. And so that it can be done so much quicker if I use other people. They're first of all, they know what they're doing. I'd be on this giant learning curve to put all the tech together, which and I have no doubt I could learn all of these things, by the
Sure you
way.
could.
I wouldn't do them the
I
way
used to have an
someone
academy
who's a
for it
professional would,
years
but
ago. We had a
yeah,
podcast academy.
right,
Even
right,
that was a lot of work. So I was like, no
right.
more.
Exactly. Um, so it was that, and I think because I'm like, why am I making this so hard on myself when I know there's people out there who can and will support me? And and this is huge for me, Heather. Like the asking for help, and
Asking for
it's
support.
hard. Even as I
Yes.
talk about the crowdfunding ad nauseum for almost a month now, it has been hard almost every single second of it. Like their day, like some days are easier than others, but like, or even moment to moment moments are harder than others. But like the process of asking for money, and I don't know where that fits in my human design. Like, you can tell me like why all of that's
Oh.
so hard for me, but like, I know the Enneagram better than I know human design
And
yet.
I can't, for some reason, I can't get into my um, app on my computer or I would pull
Oh,
it up. I don't remember your human design.
yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I know that I'm a generator, broadly, but I don't remember all the details.
The details. Okay.
But I can tell you that I'm an Enneagram 8, and if you know the Enneagram, 8s are people who are challengers, and their kryptonite is vulnerability. They wanna have all their shit together all the time and present that way all the time and they're the strong ones in the room. They do like to take care of other people, even if it's toxic, like "Oh, I'm gonna rescue you" kind of bullshit. If
Yeah,
you're not
I'm
taking
glad
care
I've
of yourself.
outgrown that phase. I'm
Yeah.
glad I've
I
outgrown
mean,
that phase.
I don't do so much. I'm pretty much not that person. Like, I don't feel I do have there's certain situations where I might still get in that, but mostly I don't anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to fix every problem, like, but I do. I want to fix every problem. I want to like take on every challenge. And you're like, I don't need to do that. And I'm at an age now where it's just not an option. Like, I don't have much energy.
Not
When I
gonna do
was
it.
27,
Yeah.
I could get in all kinds of fights. I don't have time for that anymore, or
No.
energy, or I don't care, quite
You don't
frankly.
care. Well, there's actually, this is off topic also, but earlier in the year, I read the book Menopause Brain. And she talks about how, because we always talk about how our body is affected by hormone shifts. This whole book is focused on how our brain changes with hormone shifts. And it's very fascinating to me. And one of the things that she says is that zero fucks phase that we all enter, that that's actually neurological. The things your hormones would tell your brain were important before change when your hormones change. So you literally don't care anymore. You're like, oh, I don't need to spend any energy on that because a, that won't help preserve me. That
Mhm.
won't help me be safe and healthy, which is fascinating.
Yeah,
Okay, so you said that every second of this has been difficult, and I believe that. And I'm going to put a pin in that for 1 second. Being in the podcasting collective, which if any of you are watching this and you podcast and you're a feminist and you're not in the collective, you should join us because we have a good time over there. It's
we
so
do.
helpful and supportive. And some of our pod pals are in this live right now. It's just really
Yeah,
nice to have people. And we do say it's hard because it is hard to do it at a quality and caliber that we are trying to do it. I will say, I will throw out the caveat: you could start a podcast literally right now with your iPhone and your headphones, and you could do it right here on Substack, right? Like, so that's not the kind of show, and I'm not shitting on that kind of show. Like, do whatever it is
no,
that you need to do and want to do to take yourself to wherever you're going next. But that wasn't what you were trying to produce. You were looking to do something different than just phone in hand, go for it
right.
podcast. So that's why wanted to raise this money and do this. So as you're facing these challenges, like you had to send the emails, you have to write copy, you have to make lots of personal interaction and engagement, which that's the part that wears me out the most. What things did you do to help you show up for yourself and stay focused and take all this action?
Right. I I tried to a couple of different things. One is that I really, and I do this in general, but I really have tried to honor like my body and spirit. If it's telling me, no, this is too much right now,
Love
like
that.
to not
Yeah.
do it. Again, I try to do that, although I will say this month has been a bunch of powering through because I've had so much to do. Um, Especially like making making videos and posting all of this stuff on social media is reminding me why I don't do this as much anymore. And I mean, I'm not going to leave social media after this. Don't get me wrong. There's actually some things about it that have been like, oh, well, this platform doesn't suck as much as I thought it did. Like, like there's some things that don't
Yeah.
aren't terrible about it. But I'm not gonna be, let me tell you, this daily posting shit's going away after this, my friends. I love you. I want to be connected to you, but that is going away.
It can be really exhausting.
I have
Yeah.
other things to do in real life, not on socials. Even though I love that I love doing this with you and I hope we do it again, frankly. But like yeah. So that's been exhausting. The personal asking, but here's what's interesting about the personal asks, and I'll tell the story about when I first started doing it. So what I painstakingly put together an email, like a personal email to send to people in my network, like friends, colleagues, just people who are know and trust me and like my work. So these are not people who are hostile to me or anything like that. People I know who will probably respond at minimum, right? And so I sent this, I did. I had more than one person read it, to make sure it sounded right, and it asked them for larger amounts of like, can you give? It varied from person to person, but it was like people who I thought might be able to give, up to $500 or something, like they might be able to give that away. And and even that, with the context I'm giving you of these are people I know, many of them I've known for years and years and years and years and years. Like it's not like these aren't people who are gonna like I'm literally not worried they won't be my friends anymore after this. That's not a
Yeah.
worry. Um, but I'm still worried about this. And I was so weird and anxious, and it was somatic stuff in my body. It was almost uncontrollable, like
Yeah.
anxiety or just weirdness. It's hard to even describe in my body. And one of the things I did, and had this is part of what started the conversation, like early on. So I'm getting ready. I've labored over this email, and I'm going to send these to my dear friends and colleagues, and I'm ready to send them out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. There's nothing wrong with this. And so I actually have been using your subliminal audios because I had helped
Yay.
you with another project and you're like, here, try out one of these audios. I have one of them for my human design profile, I think it is. Is that the right word? Am I using that?
Yeah. Did you get
Okay.
your profile lines?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
one I ended up getting.
I
Um,
was listening to my one free profile line this morning.
were
I
you?
love that.
Were you?
Yeah.
So I turned that here was the magic. I turned that on because the subliminal audio has like music, right? There's sort of
Yeah.
a
It just
musical
sounds
quality
like
to it.
meditative, relaxing music. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
hear.
meditative. That's really what you're hearing. So you can have that on while you're writing or whatever.
That is the
It's not
magic.
words, so
Yeah.
you're not distracted by it. So I was like sending these, and so I turned that on, and it just calmed me down in the most incredible way. And what I ended up doing was sending each email. And right before I hit send, I'm a Reiki practitioner too, which is an energy healing
Mm.
practice. I sent just for a few seconds, sent a little bit of Reiki to each person. And I had responses from those emails within minutes, in some cases. But people by the end of the day, I had like more than $2,000 promised to this. Now, getting people to actually give it and remember to do it is a whole other thing. I am learning. But I don't doubt their intention and that they really they felt really
Mhm.
passionately about supporting what I was doing.
I love that. I love that so much. Yes. I create that's so interesting. And I'm so fascinated why you picked profile lines out of because I spent months and months and months developing an entire catalog of subliminal audios that are based on every well, most aspects of the human design chart. So I did type, strategy, authority, environment, profile line, and then all of the centers, both defined and undefined. And I did that because if we are being really honest with ourselves about what's blocking our happiness, success, joy, growth, whatever in the moment, we can usually bring it back to something specific. For example, I don't know when I should take action. Okay, well then you might want to do your authority because your authority is when you take action. One that I've been struggling with a lot lately is feelings of unworthiness. So I have an open G center. I know that that's the area. If you're lacking motivation, maybe it's your heart center, like all these different types of things. So if you're really doing the work to connect with yourself, you can go, oh, I should listen to that audio, right? And so I put these together. You can get a single one. You got the profile line. You could get a set of 5, or you could get a set of 9, or all 14. Now, I just love hearing you say that that sort of gave you this sense of calm and confidence. And it makes sense to me that profile lines would do that because that's how you are designed to show up into the world and engage with the world. But what made you pick out of all of the different 14 options you could pick? What made you pick profile line?
I don't I don't have a real specific answer for that, Heather, other than I did download my human design again from your I had it somewhere,
Yeah.
but I couldn't find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You
And
guys
so I
can get
did it
a chart.
again,
If you want a
and
free chart, go to my website. Yeah.
yeah, if you want a free chart, it's on Heather's website. And uh and so I think some of the motivation for like trying like because the human design chart is somewhat complicated. I'm not wrong about that, right? Like
It's
there's a lot to it.
a lot too.
Enneagram is actually not unlike like the Enneagram is a whole different system, but like also
Totally
very
different.
complex. So
Yeah.
I get those systems and I find them very appealing because I think it does get at a lot of stuff that others superficial stuff doesn't. But like so I downloaded that again. I looked at it and I'm like, well, what? I mean, the easy thing, I knew that I was a generator. I could have just picked that one. Like that would have been easy. But I did spend a little bit of time with my thing and I was like, well, this one, like, I don't know. Oh, okay. I think at some point I got frustrated enough that I was like, I'll just pick this. That's probably what happened. I was like looking at all the things I
The
could, and I
chart
was
can
like,
be
okay, I
overwhelming.
have
Yeah.
this, and like, oh, well, I have this. Well, I'll do the profile lines. Like, so other than that, I didn't
I
have
love
to
that.
look up what it was. I don't think. So,
Well, the easy solution for the rest of you, if you want to get your human design subliminals, is just buy the set of 14 and then you'll get the ones that relate to everything in your chart. And then you won't
right.
have to worry about it like Nicole did. But I love that it kind of gave you that sense of like, I have got this, I can do it. I've had other people tell me that it seems to spark creativity or that they find that they're a little bit more open minded to looking at problem solving in a different way. Some people say, and I think you've said this, like a sense of calm, like I'm in control, I've got this. So that's a really fun, simple thing to do when we have to do the hard things that are not hard. They are not actually physically hard.
Right.
They're subconsciously and emotionally hard, like asking for help or asking for money. Um, and I don't know, I just really admire how you've built this and it can be such a hustle, right? It can be such a hustle, but you have such a good, I think, outlook on no matter what happens, the reconnections, the engagement with other people, your inspiration to keep working on your project. I just think that's so lovely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm tenacious if nothing else. I don't know where that is in my human
It's a
design
very
chart, but
generator
like,
behavior, I'll tell you that.
it's generator behavior.
Very
I
generator
do. I
behavior.
I
Yeah.
have I have more trouble letting go of things sometimes where I don't like when they're not working out, like not pivot, you know what I mean? But the tenacity of a generator is useful in a crowdfunding because what everyone tells you is which it seems to be true is that like you get a bunch of giving right in the beginning and then you have like little blips here and there in the middle of this, and this goes for any launch, not just crowdfunding. You have like
Anything.
little bit in the middle of whatever the length of time is. So this was a month. So I went for 3 weeks with like little bits of giving here and there, not really moving much of the needle. And then it's supposed to like go crazy at the end. And I've seen that happen with other people's crowdfunding where they're maybe half or less than half funded. And then somehow they get funded in the last few days. It's crazy. So, I'm still holding out a little hope. Um, oh, so Stephanie's a pure generator there. I believe that, Stephanie.
Yeah. No, you
Uh,
do have why does it say no sacral authority? You do have sacral
oh,
authority. That's what makes you a pure generator.
oh,
Uh,
Catherine, never mind. Hi, Catherine. One
hey,
of my other,
Catherine.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's been really hard about this. Like, that has been, oh my gosh, that's been really hard. Here's another thing I'll make as an observation about the subliminal audio. There was one day where I was out of sorts and it didn't feel like it made it any better. Like, and this was my understanding of what happened that particular day. And I don't remember what else was going on. So I don't remember, but like it felt like there was like deep stuff being unearthed and it just
Uh,
needed to come out. Does that make sense? And I've had other
yeah.
experiences and other times in my life like that.
Yeah.
Where, oh, I need to there's something that's coming up. It doesn't feel good. And that's just the way it's going to be today.
It's got to come out. Yeah.
It's got to come out. I think that day it only lasted like a day. And I mean, and some of the good thing you're like, okay, then I have to let this be. It's just not going to feel good, or maybe just don't send those emails today. It's not feeling great.
Right. Because you don't want to put that energy into
Like
that.
let the thing come out.
Yeah.
Whatever's coming out, let it come out and let it move and then move on. Other than that, it's always made me feel calmer. There's been nights when I've done this once when I had trouble sleeping. It helped me sleep.
Oh, interesting.
One time, I think that because I was like, the not being able to sleep was like worry about, probably money. I don't
So
remember
you
thing.
cleared up some
Something
emotional
I was
space.
worrying about, and I needed like that calm. But often when I'm in that state, I can't get back to sleep, and I did.
Oh, that's good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned how to
Okay.
be a much better sleeper from my yoga and meditation practice, but it still happens
Sure.
where something's really making me nervous. Um, and often money is the trigger, not always, but often is the trigger for that.
Yes. 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 I have gone
Right.
back to that. It was clear to me were messages like these are things you need to take action on. And then that disappeared for a while. And in the last week or so, they have been back. And I'm like trying to unpack it. Like, what? Okay. Because sometimes they're very direct, clear message. It's like, I'll give you an example. So I'm hosting, you know this, but I don't know if everybody else knows this. I'm hosting a retreat in Costa Rica in January of 2026. We're hoping you can join us.
I'm hoping to.
And I went in March to visit the property. It's this beautiful retreat center, literally in the middle of the jungle, has all of this gorgeous energy. It's anti-inflammatory, gluten-free, uh, plant-based, gluten-free, dairy-free food. It's extraordinary. Just a really special place to be. But after I toured the property, there was one accommodation. Everybody has their own private individual accommodations, and there are 3 or 4 different types of accommodations. But one of them was attached to a public classroom and right by the group pool. And I thought, I don't know if anybody would want that space. So as soon as because you want to have your privacy. So as soon as I came home, I took it out of inventory. And then a couple days later, I had a dream clear as can be that said, you need to put that room back in the inventory, lower the price by a couple of $100s, and be very clear about the fact that it is attached to public space. So I went that morning and I made the changes, and it sold that afternoon to somebody who doesn't get around quite as well as everybody else and wanted to be in a more central location.
Yeah.
So it's just wild. Like, the messages that we get from our own inner knowing or whatever. I don't know, perhaps some divine intervention when we take the time to listen to it. Margaret, you got to meet Nicole. You two we should connect the two of you. You guys should be pals. You will love each other.
Ooh, I like a new pal. Hi, Margaret. Awesome.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. And I too have been trying to, in this process of doing the crowdfunding, trying to honor those pings, cuz what I've had happen is like oh my gosh, and it happens rapid fire all the time. Like I have these pings of like, "Oh, you should reach out to this person." Like, and I really try to honor it as best I can. Unfortunately, they come when I'm not at a computer or whatever sometimes, so it's hard. But I try to get back to it. Like, oh, that person I should return to, that person I should reach out to. And and that has generally like it's been fruitful in any number of ways. I
Yeah.
mean, I've also had it's so interesting too, is that like people who I know, I feel like I know, but know not well or marginally have given like, that
That's so
just blows
nice.
me away too. It's
Yes.
not even I expect people you expect the people who know you well and, like, oh, they trust you, so they know you're not stealing their money or whatever. But I've had other people who I know or I mean, I may know, but don't know well also give, and I'm like, "That's so cool that, like, you apparently feel like you know me enough from the stuff I put out,"
Yeah. I
right?
love that. We
Yeah.
did a Kickstarter, my friend Rachel and I, when we created our Create Brave deck. And it was a wild experience. And we got lucky. We got funded early and then we had stretch goals. So the stretch goals we got like shiny edges, shiny,
Yeah.
teal glitter edges and the magnetic box. And but it was really stressful. I will tell you that. And it was also very exciting. So you kind of had to just temper yourself along the way, manage your own needs, and a lot of self compassion
Right.
and grace in that process.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes, you definitely have to. I mean, and the thing about Kickstarter is that and I'm sure they build it this way because I'm sure they build this way because it works in our culture, but it is an all or nothing platform. So you either get funded or you don't you don't get any money at all. So it's not like, oh, I think I have like 2,800 and some dollars raised so far in there. It's not like I get that
Yeah.
if I don't meet the full $12,000. Like, it means that I don't get any of it. Now, that doesn't mean I can't go back to people and ask later. Like, I could, most of the people I
Yeah.
know who were in there, I could ask again. But I can't do it so easily through Kickstarter. Like, it's not
Right.
an easy thing for it to do in that. Um, Oh, that's a good question, Stephanie. I don't know. That's not why did I decide to go that route? I honestly don't know that I knew any better. I was being coached by um or knew that I don't know no I'm not sure I knew there were alternatives because
Because I thought
uh
all crowdfunding sources were sort of all or nothing, but I guess that's not true. Because what's the one?
there's
Never mind.
other platforms, I suppose, that I could try going on. It was recommended to me by someone I know. So another part of why I thought of doing, even had the idea of doing a Kickstarter is because I have a couple of friends who are like indie filmmakers, and it's a really common thing to do, like
Yeah.
Kickstarters, in that world. And so I'm familiar enough with them doing Kickstarters that I knew it was a thing. Um, and I've had some other friends who are musicians and other people do Kickstarters for various projects at different times. So, it was like I didn't even like really investigate a lot of different platforms potentially. It was that my
Yeah.
one friend was like, I had one friend who's done a lot of like she's coached me through this whole thing, who's done a lot of Kickstarters and crowdfunding, and she said it's known, mostly because it's known, it's sort of a standard.
It's trusted. Yeah.
It's trusted, and so use Kickstarter, people know it.
And when
And
I
so
think of
I honestly didn't do a lot of
GoFundMe,
research about other platforms I could have used. I did contemplate doing my own and just DIYing it.
oof, that feels like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I mean, and Kickstarter is discoverable. I've gotten a couple of
Yes.
tarot decks on Kickstarter. But when you think of like a GoFundMe, which I suppose is a platform that would work,
Yeah,
I
and
think
there's
of
other
that as an
crowdfunding
emergency,
platforms.
like people are in harm's way and need support getting out of it. That may not be true. That's just how I
Sure.
perceive that. Whereas Kickstarter is more of a get your business off the ground
Correct.
approach,
And they actually don't allow you to do
personal.
Kickstarters
Yeah.
for personal things. Like, it
Yeah.
can cover personal costs, associated with the project, but you also can't do any. This is just an aside on Kickstarter. Like, originally I had mentioned, and we talked about this, Heather, early on. I had originally mentioned in the description that I would give part of it away, like whatever I would
Oh, and
raise.
it won't let you do that,
It
right?
won't let no, it wouldn't actually let me publish until I got rid of that. So that's
Interesting.
just their rule, is that no 501c
Fundraising.
fundraising can go on in that particular platform because it's focused on creators. I mean, they're not saying those causes are bad. They're just saying that's not what we do here.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. But I'd be curious, I don't know, Stephanie, if you're more familiar with some of the other crowdfunding platforms that are not all or nothing. Because that'd be an interesting resource
Right.
for people. I just really love the idea of thinking out of the box and creatively about how to make our dreams come true. And I have actually
Yeah.
thought about doing crowdfunding or a Kickstarter for the new book I'm working on. Um, you guys wanna know the name of it? Do you wanna know the name of it? I
Sure.
think
We do know.
it's its working title, but I don't see me changing it. Yeah, this won't be surprising because if for anybody who's been hanging around me, uh, Choose Yourself Bravely
Mm,
is the name of the book. Choose
I love
yourself
that.
bravely, right? And it's speaking how to learn to lead from embodied joy as a conscious leader. Um, and I I am an avid reader. I just finished my 103rd book of the year this weekend. I read a lot. I love to read. I love books. This is my first book that came out, and I want to make a special book. I wanna have sprayed edges, and I wanna have special print copies, and I wanna do an audio book with it, and that stuff costs a lot of money. So
Ton of
I have
money.
thought about following in your footsteps here, um,
Yeah.
to be able to do some of these special things
Right.
with it. So it's exciting, but also I've only written 2 chapters, so we got a minute. We're not rushed right now.
Well, the thing I'm told about, like, I was really worried, like, oh my gosh, when I was getting the Kickstarter together, and my good friend Julie Keck, who is a lovely human who also lives in the Chicago area, actually, said to me, she's like, I was like all stressed that I didn't have a web page yet for my podcast, that I didn't have.
Oh, you don't need to, I don't
No,
think.
that you
Yeah.
literally don't need to. The point is that you're funding, like, they're funding
Yeah.
a good idea. They're not funding it fully. They're literally funding so you can do that. I'm like, oh right, like,
Yes.
like you don't actually have
Yes.
to have the thing all together. I'm like,
No. And I don't think that I need to have a polished, edited, ready to go book, but I do think I need to have a first draft ready to go to editing
oh sure,
both
awesome.
before I do that. Yeah, it would just feel more integral to me. And you have that too. Like you have your first draft. You have put a lot of time and thought into what Just Rest is and who it will
Yeah,
support and how you
for
will
sure.
release it and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I do have a first draft of sorts with it.
yeah,
And I did
exactly.
do one sample podcast as well,
I
that I've been
saw that.
dropping in little chunks. I haven't put the whole thing out. Probably I'll give it to my funders, when in not too long, if I'll edit the whole thing. It was a great conversation. She's also on here, not live right now, but my friend Katie Rose Hate Monic, who has a book out right now called The Cult of CrossFit, which
I
is
do. I don't
fascinating.
even have to read the book. CrossFit is a cult. I agree.
And she's a social anthropologist and studied, like, went and visited anyway, this is also an aside, visited CrossFit places on like 5 continents, like, so, like, studied, like, the culture of it. So she's a cultural anthropologist. I said that wrong. And so she studied that, and that was years ago she did that, and then but now the book is out. And so we talked about rest, and she's also a champion weightlifter, and talks about how in weightlifting as a sport, and really any sport in general, like she goes, if you're going to practice reps of something in weightlifting, you maybe do that for 15 seconds, and then you lift, and then you rest for 2 to 3 minutes. Like, it's required, and you actually don't get better at at lifting the weights unless you do that.
Oh, interesting.
And she said, and she started doing this weightlifting thing when she was in her early 40s. So like, there was no, she goes, especially at someone my age, there's no way I'm going to keep doing it if I don't do that. And she goes, and what's interesting is that rest, like, and I'm giving away a little bit of what's in the podcast, but it's so good. Like, she goes, what was so interesting about that is that then that rhythm became integrated into the rest of my life.
I love that. And Stephanie just said, can she train Heather and I? Which, yes, can she? Can you make an
Yes,
introduction?
we
Because
could.
um, Stephanie and I we're not doing a great job though, Stephanie. We are we agreed to hold each other a little bit accountable for some physical movement and exercise. But I found this, and I don't know if you've tried them or not, Stephanie, because I sent them over. I found this young woman, this young Chinese woman on TikTok who says these 5 exercises you do each of them for 1 minute every day, and she shows like this unblocks your chi and this helps with this and blah blah blah. And I love them. And the first week that I did them, I hurt in places I did not know I had muscles to hurt. That was weird because they're very simple. These are not hard things.
Right.
Um, and so now I mean, I really enjoy them, and I can feel a difference when I don't do them, and it's just 5 minutes. But I know that I need to build strength. I'm 50. I'm perimenopausal, and my mother is very fragile, and I don't want to be fragile. And so building strength, I think I'm not trying to be skinny. I don't need to be a size 6. I'm not trying to look younger than I am. I just want to be able to get up from the couch when I'm 90 and walk up a set of stairs and walk down the block for, to the cafe, all of that. So, yes, we would like an introduction to your friend. Oh, Stephanie, you're so cute. They're easy though. I will tell you they're easy, and I don't like to exercise. Me and exercise have never been pals. I've never exercised where I felt anything other than hungry and tired when it was over. That high people get. And I have done it. I've worked with a personal trainer. I have truly done it, and it never made me feel anything but annoyed.
That's hilarious.
Except these Chinese things. I like it. They make me feel sort of calibrated. They do move my energy. It's somatic, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love somatic movement.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I love that. Um, well,
we've
we've been
been all over the
talking for
place
almost an hour. Like, maybe we should. And this is how our conversations go, you all. If you are
all
on
the
the
time.
Zoom calls that we have, or any phone calls or lunches that we've had, well, one lunch that we've had,
One here,
these are
there,
sort of how they
everywhere.
go. And I'm glad you're our people, because you're clearly still hanging in there. Like, and who does that? I love you all so
Um,
much.
But
So
I'm going to make a
tell me
personal
more.
request, you guys. I'm going to make a personal request to check out Nicole's Kickstarter. She's only got a couple more days, and she's put so much hard work into it. And I think that this podcast is going to be so helpful and important for people, but women who need to hear this from somebody who they can identify with. And so if you've got even just a little bit to support Nicole, I'm asking, please just take a look at it and maybe share it with some friends and see if you can help her make this
Aw,
goal
that's really
happen.
sweet. I'll also say that just today I have a generous giver, generous donor who's matching everybody up to $1,000,
That's so cool.
which is very cool. So I have a great donor who's supportive of me, who's doing that today, and will match. And I've already raised 200 and something of that. And I know it's like $794 left or something to raise of that. Although maybe some people have given since I've looked last, who knows?
I know that's
Um,
exciting.
but I'm trying to meet that by the end, by midnight Central Time today. would if we can raise another $700 and some dollars, which I know it's out there somewhere, folks.
It
Um,
is.
I mean, I have friends who are like me and who are broke, but that's not everybody. I know you all.
No,
I
and
mean,
it
literally
doesn't, I mean,
$5 or
$5,
$1.
$10. Yeah, yeah, everything counts.
And the other thing that you'll get this week, if you give before, like, say, 5 Central Time on Wednesday, is that you'll get an invite to our Just Rest podcast celebration on Wednesday evening, which will be on Zoom, and you'll get more of me and Heather Vickery. And so if you give even $1, like it really, all you have to do is give $1, you'll get an invite to that.
We're gonna have a little workshop. We're gonna do some
We're-
EFT tapping.
We're going to do EFT tapping. I'm going to tell you even more about my vision about the podcast. And we'll celebrate where we're at. That won't be quite the end yet there'll still be another day-ish to give after that. Just because of scheduling, we couldn't
It's
schedule
my
it
fault.
at the very end, but I actually think this is better. Like
I actually do too. Yeah, we couldn't
Yeah.
do the next night because it's back to school night and I got to go meet all the teachers for my 7th grader. But um, I love the idea of celebrating before you know the end result because you're celebrating the effort and you're celebrating the journey, not the winning. And I think
Right.
that's such a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, for
just
sure.
had fun.
Well, how do folks find more of you, and especially these cool new subliminal audios that I have found so
Yeah.
valuable in this process? How do they find that,
Thank you.
Heather?
Well, obviously, I'm here on Substack. My Substack is just my business, Vickery and Co. Joy Warrior. Um, I'm here a lot. I'm also on TikTok and I'm on LinkedIn, and that's pretty much the only place. I'm on Blue Sky sometimes. But if you want to know your human design, you can get a free chart on my website. You can find the links, follow my bio right here in Substack or wherever you're watching a replay, and you can get a free human design chart. And then if you don't know what that means, come hang out with me and I'll give you information. And the subliminal audios are right there too. So they are, I think we've made them very affordable. You can get just one, you could get a set of 5, a set of 9, or a set of 14, which is all of them. 14 is your everything that shows up in your chart. I mean, for the most part, all the big things. And you could, yeah, go to my website. If you go to work with me, you're going to see human design subliminals. It's right there. I love them. I truly use them every single day.
That's
Every day. I pick a different one, whatever I'm in the mood for every day.
Yeah. And here's what I'll also say, because I think some of our coach friends are on this call or will listen to it later, that I've started recommending them to some of my clients,
Thank you for that.
my individual coaching clients. And I'm not doing that I mean, I want to support you, Heather. Let me be clear. But I think it's going to be especially with folks who I know are dealing with things that are those things that are stuck in the back of our head that therapy and and I find these are all things I find valuable at different times of my, talk therapy, other things. This is getting at stuff that we can't quite get at.
That's 95% of the subconscious.
Through this part of our brain, the front part of our brain. It's not going to happen there. So this is the stuff that you can't, when you're having those feelings of ooh, this stuff is coming up. This is the thing to do, I think. And I think I didn't even know I needed this, but I mean, I do know on some level from being a yoga and meditation teacher that there's things we can get at through our body, through somatic practices, through practices that happen when we're not quite conscious, right? Or in this case, we're maybe conscious, but it's helping operate in a different part
on
of
another
our
level.
body.
Yeah. I was saying this with somebody earlier today, and then we really can't hang up.
We should go.
But I think it relates to what you're doing with your crowdfunding also. This type of work, this transformative work, which is what we're both doing for ourselves and with clients and all of that, it is big and it can be so heavy and it can be so messy and it can feel like a slog. Although we have, I mean, certainly if you're working with me and I know folks are working with you, we are going to always look for the gold. We're going to look for, the shift and the change and bring that up and be centered in gratitude. But what I love about subliminal audios is sometimes it doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes you can do things that actually move the needle and make a difference, and they can just be easy. It doesn't always have to be hard. We can't handle that. It can't be so hard and heavy every single second of the day. We got to have a break sometime. And so the subliminal audios are such a nice way to regulate your nervous system, stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, shift your subconscious without having to really put any effort other than clicking play on it. And sometimes we just need a freaking break.
Correct. Right. Doesn't have to be a slog. It can be like listening to some very calming, lovely
Yeah.
music. That's all it
Yeah.
is. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's that easy.
It is. I love that. And I love you. And I'm excited. And I'm excited for Wednesday. And thank you
I
all for
love
coming.
you. I'm
Hang
excited
out.
for our party on Wednesday night. And I need to send you like an email or message
I
about
was
that,
like,
by the
you
way.
do need to, because I don't have my slides together yet. So you got to build those.
Well, I mean, I just gave you what I'm thinking is the rough outline verbally
Perfect.
here. I just need to write it down. All right.
All right.
Thank you
Bye,
for doing this,
everybody.
Heather. I love you,
Thanks.
and I love
Love
you
you
all for being
too.
here. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.